You wake up, it's 2002, you stick your PlayStation 2 on or your GameCube on or whatever console you had at the time, and you boot up Spider-Man.
Spider-Man?
I'm gonna stop your rampage right now.
Oh.
Don't tell Harry.
Welcome to a brand new series on the channel. This is pretty much the first series I'm going full steam ahead on, apart from the should you buy stuff, so I'm very excited to do this. We're going through pretty much every single Spider-Man game apart from 2 until Spider-Man 2 releases, and we will review every single one of them, starting with Spider-Man 2002, the one you're watching right now. We'll be doing it chronologically, or at least the best I could do that. I'm not doing the original Spider-Man game because I can't get my hands on it, and I can't do Edge of Time because I'm playing on PC, Okay, just I gotta clear that up. It's not on PC, Edge of Time. Anyway, we'll be doing Spider-Man 1, which is this, Spider-Man 2, Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Man Friend or Foe, Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man Web of Shadows, Shattered Dimensions, and the TASM games, as well as the new games. I didn't want to play the Amazing Spider-Man games, but I did, and you know, they're games. You know, they're games. Anyway, Spider-Man 1, let's get into this.
On the river, that's all I know. Thanks.
So Spider-Man 1 is the 2002 game that is the movie tie-in game, you know what I mean? Everyone knows that, really. Tobey Maguire returns, Willem Dafoe returns, and, you know, they're playing Goblin and, you know, Spider-Man.
General Slocum has given Oscorp a week to prove that we can develop a working serum. Or we are going to lose the contract to Quest Labs, given how much we have invested in this research. Losing the contract could bankrupt Oscorp. I can only assume that Spider-Man relates to our problem in some way.
This game expands on everything the movie does. So you get more villains, you get more screen time, and you get more iconic, cringy lines.
Going back to the subway station after my battle with Shocker. Still, taking photos of the repairs is easy money, so I can't really complain. Easy money? When will I learn to keep my mouth shut? I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
But yeah, some villains turn up. So you got Shocker, you've got Vulture, you got a bunch of others. Fun fact, the guy that plays Vulture in this game actually returned to play Vulture in Marvel's Spider-Man 2018. I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, the story isn't that good, okay? This is 2002. Movie tie-in games were never that good in the first place, and this is not gonna change anything. The story is pretty crap. The voice acting is hilarious, so that's entertaining at least. But we should really talk about the gameplay. So Spider-Man 1, it plays a lot like the original Spider-Man game that I can't play right now. The one that came out on PS1. So you got multiple combos, you've got like these semi-open levels that you can swing around on. And you can explore it all, and that's how you learn combos, and, you know, you can just have a bit of fun. A lot of the levels end up just being beat-em-ups, you know what I mean? You just walk in, you beat a bunch of guys up, you go find a specific item to get into the next section of the level, then you beat them up. But there are some stealth missions as well, but the stealth is not great. I mean, it hasn't aged very well, guys, okay? I'm gonna be honest. I know we're all here for a nostalgia trip, we want to feel good about it, but I've got to be honest with you too. This has not aged very well compared to a lot of the other Spider-Man games, like, at all. The combat system is actually pretty fun at first. Once you get used to it, I mean, playing it now, you're like, oh my god, this is kind of rough, but after you've played it for like an hour, you get used to it, and you kind of get into a groove, and you see why everyone really enjoyed it back in 2002 up to 2004 before Spider-Man 2 took over everything. So the combo system is actually quite satisfying. That being said, there are some very frustrating elements to this game, and I almost didn't complete it because of it, but we'll save that for in just a minute. But let's talk about the good stuff first. The level design, honestly, is not terrible. It really isn't terrible. This was a time where you couldn't, you know, bloat your game with open world side activities and stuff like that. You had to be very focused. Every level had to be designed specifically to keep you engaged and make it enjoyable and keep stuff fresh, and every level does do that. There is something different with every level, which is really nice to say. The Vulture mission in particular I thought was really cool because of the change of camera, because you're basically climbing this tower and the camera basically follows you. Like, it's like an Uncharted game where you don't have control of the camera, weirdly enough. And then you got missions like Shocker, where he uses, you know, he basically uses shockwaves and stuff like that, and you have to dodge it, and, you know, there's a bit of platforming involved, and, you know, it's before the times of where boss battles just became like a normal enemy, but they had larger health pools, I guess. I mean, they definitely do that. That, you know, some of the bosses in this game can be like overly long. Like, it gets pretty fucking annoying after a while, I can't lie to you, because you're just there spamming the same button again and again and again to get them down. But I just like the boss design here. Sure, Green Goblin's fights, if you remember correctly, I'm going to show it, they're probably the worst fights in the game, to be honest, because you're swinging around and you have to, you know, press square twice, and then you have to swing away, and you got to do it again and again and again and again and again.
This innocence and selfish battle again and again and again until we're both dead.
That gets pretty boring, I can't lie. But every other boss was really enjoyable, to be honest. But along with those heavily combat-focused missions, which is the majority of the game, there are stealth missions, and my god, I remember these as a kid. When I played this game as a kid, I hated these missions, and you know what? You know what? It's been over, well, for me, I probably played it in 2003, 2004? Yeah, it would have been 2004, so for me, it's been 19 years. It's been 19 years, and you know what? I still fucking hate those stealth missions. Fuck those stealth missions, man. I hate them. They don't belong in this game. The stealth missions are terrible. I hate them. Get rid of it. I don't... What about... Well, I mean, the sequels of the games have already come out. I can't really say that, but the stealth missions are terrible, man. I got fucking PTSD from it, man. I swear to God. Those missions are terrible. I hated them as a kid, and I still hate them now. But they're not terrible, to be honest with you. I just don't like them myself. They're actually not terribly designed. I mean, for the time, it's pretty good. These days, not so much. But it could have been a lot worse. There is a Green Goblin character you could play as well. So if you beat the game on a certain difficulty, I didn't do that. I played on normal. I just wanted to relax. But if you beat it on a certain difficulty, you unlock Green Goblin. And you can actually play as Green Goblin, and he has, well, it's Harry Osborn, and you get this whole different, like, story with it. I mean, you play on the same levels and things like that, but you got different moveset and all sorts, as well as different voice acting. They all recorded different lines and everything, which I thought was really cool. Like, that whole game, that would be a fucking £20 DLC these days. Fun fact, I'm putting this in just now, but they did release Goblin as paid DLC for Spider-Man 3. Yeah, they did that. Just goes to show, doesn't it? The problem with this game and starting the series off with it is that there isn't much to talk about. I mean, I've pretty much covered everything that I have to say about it already, apart from two things. First off, spider bowling, or spider pinball. And secondly, the god-awful controls. Let's talk about the pinball first. Spider-Man Pinball, it's such a throwaway game mode. You know, you just hop in and you just, you're playing bowling, basically, with Spider-Man. You swing at the things and you fucking knock them over. It's fun. It's amazing. Why is it in the game? I don't know. I don't know why it's there, okay? But it's really fun, and you can actually have, like, multiple players set up. It's kind of genius, actually, but, we're never going to see something like that ever again. So that's something I've got to mention, because it deserves praise, because it's there. It's unique. You're not going to get that in any other Spider-Man game. Spider-Man Bowling. Get this game just for Spider-Man Bowling.
See that? Still got the moves. Yeah.
And lastly, the god-awful controls. I don't really want to end on a negative, but I've got to mention it. Guys, if you do go back and play this, you may want to, you may be watching this and you may get inspired to do so. Just know the controls are awful. They're awful. They are just downright terrible, okay? First off, the camera does not work properly half the time. When you want to move left and you move your camera left as well, it's going to glitch and your character won't move, and you have to move the camera in order to move your character again. It's really odd. I don't know why it does that. Secondly, there is a lot of weirdly fine-tuned aiming you need to do when it comes to moving Spider-Man around. So there's an ability where you can web zip forward, up, or down, you know what I mean? Like the new games, except they're way better. And this requires you to press a button and move the analog stick to aim at where you need to go, and it's so clunky, and it needs to be used in times where you have to be quick, so it's more about luck, and it's super frustrating. It's super frustrating. There's also a lock-on system that does not work very well at all, to be honest with you, and there's also a significant amount of input delay no matter what you play on, whether you're using an emulator or actually playing on the PlayStation 2 or GameCube or whatever you're using. So keep that in mind. But honestly, all in all, there may not be a lot to talk about. It may be quite a bare bones game. There may not be a lot to do in it. But for a movie tie-in game, you could do a lot worse. You could do a lot worse. We've seen significantly worse than this. And you know what? It's actually quite an entertaining game at the end of the day. The voice acting is hilarious. The level design is actually quite unique. It's just the clunky controls and just lack of replayability that really bogs it down, to be honest, compared to Ultimate Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. Man, I cannot wait to talk about those games. Oof. I've got some hot takes about Ultimate Spider-Man as well. Some of you are gonna hate me for it, but yeah. Let me know what you think, guys. What did you ever play this game when you were younger? Did you play it recently like I have? What do you guys think? And what do you think about this kind of content? Do you want this series to continue? I mean, I've already completed like 3 or 4 of the Spider-Man games, so I want to do it anyway. But let me know what you guys think, what you change with the series, and you know, let's maybe I'll do like a playthrough or something. That'd be quite cool. But yeah, that's about it. That's quite a simple video. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and remember to keep it classic.